And call this meeting to order at 8:30. And ask for approval of the agenda.
I have looks like a change under the attachments. It says the minutes from November's regular meeting.
Minutes from the regular meeting.
Or March should be there.
Nice catch. Okay.
Just want to make the meeting longer.
Anything else? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Ben.
I'll second.
Thank you, Sammy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Public comment on agenda items. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Approval of minutes from the regular meeting. No regular.
I'll make that.
Oh, no, thank you, Bruce.
I'll second.
Thank you, Dee. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Financials from March.
So this month in the unpaid bills, we have 19,033.26 being distributed. For the city of Manistee, that's our Q3 city service agreement. The QuickBooks is in there, that's the monthly fee. The chamber executive director fee as well as economic development, and then the Richards McDougall. Other activity this month, I paid the Great American Insurance. That was for $90. And then we received a deposit of $10 for the Ideal Kitchen and their food truck, which will be positioned out front on Saturday, April 26th.
Okay. Any questions for Nicole or Andrew?
Thank you for taking the other non-necessary stuff out.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Okay, is there a move here?
A motion to approve.
Second. I got a motion from Bruce, a second. from
Bruce
Jen.
can have it.
Okay.
Second came from Bill.
Thanks. All right. Got that, Nicole? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Executive report.
Sure. So this month, you'll see that we kind of changed up the format, trying something new with the executive director report. So give me any feedback if you wanted to relapse to the old way. But 28 overall contacts. I included the amount of vacant commercial space. You'll notice that's picked up by 2. We had 2 businesses closed, but currently working with their property owners to fill them, and one already has a new tenant going in. So it should really be 11, not 12. As you see, the second story space, that's going to be later in the packet, but that's almost 40,000 vacant or inactive second story square footage in the downtown, specifically along River Street. This month, we had 5 new business contacts, and that means multiple communications with each one of those businesses. We had one record store from Chicago come up here, and we toured multiple spaces with them in middle of the month. And so that was a great opportunity, and that's ongoing contact with that specific business. An architecture firm out of California, a interior design store from Honor, and Royal Oak is a boutique hotel. So those were those contacts. When under the category of downtown property owners engaged, that's really reaching out to those business owners, having those conversations of, hey, what are you looking to have in your space? What's your intentions going forward? Potentially touring the space. It's those types of activities, and engaged is multiple contacts. Normally, it's not just one phone call or one meeting with them. It's normally, phone calls, touring, emails, and then going out and trying to attract people into their space after we find out what they want. But that's kind of just an overview of that new report layout. So any feedback's welcome after the meeting or even now.
Just to comment on that, just really quick. I know that you and I we've had conversation about this, but again, you mentioned interior design stores. So already downtown, we have Well Nested, we have Pamela's Interiors Design. The new store coming in has interior design attributes to it, and we have millennial interior design. Do you feel like another interior design would be a good fit? And how do we, not how do we deter that, but how do we say like, there's 5 in a 1 mile radius in downtown Manistee?
I don't really think that that's a determination a governmental entity should be making. I feel like they should provide the same level of service that they do to anybody that calls and stops in. That's the business owner's decision if they want to compete against other businesses in the district.
We do have something coming up on the agenda that I think you're gonna like.
Okay.
Under the new business. And so you'll, hopefully you'll hop on this subcommittee that we're making for target businesses that are coming up. And so that's something where that's a business too that we didn't specifically go out and solicit, for example.
Andrew's gonna talk about it. When he called me, I asked the same type of question you asked. So I think he's gonna present that here in a little bit.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you all. Any further
Cliffhanger.
discussion on that?
That's not certainly.
Okay, we'll move on to reports from subcommittee. Anything on facade grants, Andrew?
Besides just did our monthly check-ins, everything's where it should be at. 334, 336, and 338, where the purple paintbrush and line set 2 are. That facade project's pretty much complete. He's installed the new windows and is just waiting on an awning. The awning wasn't included in the facade grant, but that's like to finish out the project and then he'll get us those receipts. So we already have one from this year, more or less complete, which is great.
Okay. Great. Streetscape.
Streetscape, we are currently waiting on right side design to get some updated rendering so then we can fully present to this board with those finished renderings from, that incorporated all the feedback from the subcommittee. And that should most likely occur at the next May meeting. If I had to guess, I've reached out to Brandon to get a check-in from a timeline standpoint as to when he thinks he'll have those completed renderings done. We did talk to MEDC yesterday about the RAP grant. That's been pushed back, the timeline. It's currently getting reviewed by MEDC leadership. But Hannah said it's going to be another month and a half at the earliest until MEDC leadership actually makes those announcements, which is kind of frustrating because they were supposed to have it by March, and pushing back a project by 2.5 months can make it tricky to bid out that work.
2.5 months?
Yeah, I don't think because at the beginning they were saying mid-March, and then, a month and a half from now is going to be like late May. And so looking to bid out a project and get all the final engineering done after the announcement can really squeeze that timeline a little bit. Hopefully MEDC is able to work with us on that, and if we're awarded.
Yeah, when we're awarded.
Yes, exactly. I love that optimism, Kyle.
Yeah, they told us that went through 2 of the rounds of review. It's on the 3rd round now.
Yeah.
And then they said there was 8 applications for the public infrastructure. 2 of them were not
Yeah,
eligible.
in this region.
Okay.
And then there was only 3 that were competitive, Hannah said. So out of the 8, only 3 are really competitive. She didn't mention if we were one of them, but I'm assuming we are one of them because we had a good application. So,
So they really can't tell us like where we're at.
yeah, they really can. So,
Okay,
Emily?
thank you. Gap financing. Anything?
gap financing, we have that application, kind of ready to rock. I've been reaching out to a couple building owners who I know have projects coming down the pipe, or have aspirations, I should say, of projects, and pushing that a little harder. I got with Ed Bradford yesterday with the city just to review that application, and making sure that it's workable and we can solicit a project and hopefully do a pilot project with that program. And this is gonna be a standing line item because we're gonna have that subcommittee meet to review applications when they do come in. And then they'll give a recommendation to this board whether or not to approve or deny, or, approve with conditions, applications for that program. So that's gonna remain even though we got that approved.
Okay, old business, Riverwalk. Bill?
Well, we have the site work and structural repairs going on in the Riverwalk. The deck board was replaced. They're putting in the structural bracing over by Dick's Barber Shop, so that's going in. After that's complete, they'll put the decking over on that portion as well. Site works getting started over by, it's gonna start the week of 4/14 over by the Butterfly Garden, so making that new access on that area. So it's coming along. We had the painting pre-bid meeting on Friday, so waiting to hear a start date on that, but
What was the painting for, Bill?
that's for the railing or
Okay.
for the light poles and also the railing. So it's more kind of dealing with the rust, scraping off the old paint, putting on new paint.
The switchback at our parking lot there that's being replaced, will that essentially be the same, like the same layout and?
Yeah, so we don't have, I gotta figure out how we're dealing with the concrete portion, but that wasn't in the project, but yeah, it'll be the same.
Quick question for you, Bill. Did I read somewhere that we're gonna be doing more dredge work this spring, summer?
So the Army Corps did reach out about dredging.
Are we concerned about the Riverwalk at all? from last
I
time?
did, they asked for input. I did tell them I don't want them to dredge in the area that's listed as not maintained on their map, and I also requested they don't have the same lead person. Depending on who their contractor is, I don't want that one antagonistic person back. So those are my two comments.
If you need a bodyguard, call me.
I don't need people driving bulldozers over the beach on a Saturday.
I hear you. So with that being said, what happens? What happens if Riverwalk gets sunk again? I mean, who's
So
liable this time?
we're still in the process of submitting a claim to the Army Corps. But yeah, I think really if they didn't go in that one area, I don't think we would have the same issue. We would have the issue.
Okay,
But
thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Any questions?
they're kind of using vibration to put down those sheet piles. They did put some monitors on the buildings next to it to make sure. But I think it's going pretty well.
Bill, do you know when the work will be finished?
So all the work we have in the contract should be done by September, but in terms of every little component, I don't have that offhand, but the idea was we're trying to, make sure we don't disrupt the Riverwalk during the tourist season. So that's why the decking, I'm glad they moved on that quickly. But yeah, just let me know if I can provide you some more specific dates.
Thank you.
Sandy, you have a banner.
I'll pull that up for you, Sammy.
I can sit down here. Can you advance slides and stuff for me also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything
So
He said anything you want.
you like, whatever you thought you want.
in addition to potential banners, as we were looking at shot locations, we started reimagining what a complete sign package could look like for the city of Manistee. So some of this is not necessarily DDA's area. Some of it goes beyond the DDA scope, but I figure I needed to start with you guys. And I've had preliminary discussions with the city, nothing formal and I haven't asked for anything at this point. I just want to gauge the board's tolerance on continuing to move forward with something along these lines. I'm a weirdo when it comes to branding, and there's an inconsistency around Manistee when it comes to branding. And whether it's called the Victorian Port City or Salt City, you see signs that are all over the board in terms of not only the information that they're providing, but the look and feel of the signs. And quite frankly, some of the practicality of the signs aren't really there. You have to be sitting right next to a sign to know what the sign says. So when looking at the banners for downtown, we also thought, well, wouldn't it be fun if we looked at a new sign package for the Riverwalk to replace some of the 22 markers that are along the Riverwalk, the historical things that have like the underground tunnel, I think it's the SS Michigan or whatever that came in when war was declared on Manistee, that kind of thing. So we developed a sign package that would go along with that. So not only a series of kiosks that would rebrand the Riverwalk, giving people access to the Riverwalk, showing the access point, showing where the bathrooms are. You can go to the next slide, Andrew. Thank you. But a series of informational pieces about the Riverwalk itself. In addition to maps, here's how you get here, here's where the bathrooms are. Some of these still have to be vetted out, but working with the Historical Museum, this is what we would envision would be the new markers for Riverwalk signage. So, and the location. So everything from where Greenbush is to the Dick's Barber Shop where the switchback would be, shows people how to use the Riverwalk. And these are two-sided, by the way. So you see directional on each side. And then go to the next one. Then we would rebrand some of the other locations throughout the city, from fish cleaning to Douglas Park, the marina, things like that. So these would all look in conjunction with the banners that are downtown. So we have a consistent look and feel. In addition, can you bring up the next file? We looked at what could new branding be for downtown Manistee. So the Tourism Authority about 2 years ago rebranded our tourism marks based on the marks that the city currently uses from the, what was the name of that group? The Rising Tide Group that was established through the state. Using the same color palette that the county has then picked up on. So the tourism marks, we rebranded every community within the county to be able to use. And one of those brand packages was for downtown, because downtown really is kind of the city center, but it's also it's the heartbeat of Manistee County. But this essentially keeps the city's brand with the lighthouse and the trees established by Project Rising Tide, but establishes downtown as its own kind of entity. Mainly for consistency's sake, because I've seen everything from downtown Pure Michigan to downtown Manistee to whatever.
Yeah, our next project will have to be removing that sign on 31.
I got you on that one too,
Historic
Andrew.
District, Pure Michigan.
I already got what that could look like. So, so we're moving these things along, but I just wanted to kind of judge your tolerance, your appetite for continuing to go down this, looking at pricing, looking at what this would entail, starting to look at the permissions. I mean, this is complex in that there's a historical component, there's the signage component, all the entities, Planning Commission, I'm sure has a say, but just gauging the DDA board's tolerance to continue moving down this pathway. Everything goes with one another.
I'm a Marine. I'm with you. I like consistency.
I think it's absolutely beautiful, and with the momentum that Manistee is on right now, you're on point. Like we have to brand Manistee as, are we the port city? Are we the salt city? Are we the, and I can tell that there's just been a lot of work put into this. So thank you. It's beautiful.
We also have some DDA branding. I think the typical branding just is downtown Manistee in cursive. It's on our website, it's on the DDA's website, it's on the city's website. We came up with specific Development Authority of Manistee. I mean, it brings in Manistee's brand as an entity of the city to really bring some consistency there. And I mean, we use the marks on our website, so.
I think it's great. I'm very tolerant to answer your question.
Okay.
But I think somebody has to take the lead, and I appreciate, and I know you've asked, but I appreciate you taking the lead on it. And we don't know what the end result looks like
Right.
and what the partnership looks like,
Right.
but somebody has to take the lead.
Yeah,
And
my
I-
board is for it as well. I've presented this to them and we all agree that it's necessary.
Okay.
We just have some steps that we have to go through on,
Yeah.
what are next steps, getting these approval processes, and you guys are the next logical step in that.
In your understanding, what would be a realistic implementation timeline? Do you think it would probably be like a year, to get all the approvals and whatnot, or I guess from a DDA standpoint, would it be within this budget year? Because I know we have included, budget funds to allow for a logo rebranding. But just, I guess, timeline wise, do you have any sense? You don't have to put that out.
Could I ask that a different way?
Sure.
Can you give us something to put on the banners or the light poles?
Yep.
And let us use that branding for website stuff?
Yeah, this is all ready to go.
Okay, so now,
The banners, we have a design. It's just now that we have nice weather, I actually feel like, oh, yeah, I'll walk the Riverwalk and
Okay.
map out the Riverwalk signs.
Gotcha.
But we have designs already for the street banners as well.
So
So
we,
next step is simply pricing
Right.
and materials
Okay.
and permissions from whoever I need to go through. And I think the Historic District Commission is probably in that. I don't know if city council has to be involved. I'd look to Bill Gamble to help me with some of
pieces of
these.
this, I'm trying to push along a piece of this, which is to get those flagpoles dressed.
Mhm.
You know, and to get the website redone.
Yeah.
Those don't need approvals other than us chickens here.
Okay,
I don't, and not saying this isn't true, but I don't ever remember in the past for light pole banners anyway, having to go through Historic District
Okay.
Commission. And also, I recall that, at some point years ago, it was decided that anybody that wants to put anything on the light poles just needs to go through the DDA.
okay. Then I can have some designs for the light poles for the Riverwalk and for the streets for next month's meeting.
Do you happen to have, could you also send, your whole, do you have a digital file for the proposals?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, just, I guess, the board have any opinion as to which DDA authority of Manistee, do we care which one is gonna be our like primary one on the website? Do you have any recommendation for it?
I-
Which one maybe go with?
I'd use downtown Manistee. I mean, so most people don't care about a DDA. They just care about the destination. So I'd use the downtown Manistee marks. It's kind of like there's a B2B and a B2C.
Yeah.
The B2C is the downtown Manistee. The B2B is the Development Authority of Manistee.
Gotcha.
Sammy, also, at one time we had talked about this being a good time to maybe outline or highlight parking off of River Street.
Yep.
Might
That would
might
be on the street side banners in addition to the sign package, but the banners have parking
Good.
listed on those as well, so.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sammy. Thank you. Construction parking permit.
So I just wanted to give an update on that. Ed did follow our recommendation from a price standpoint, where it's gonna be rather than $10 a week, it's $50 a week now for a construction parking permit. But I just wanted to let everybody know that that was updated by Ed.
Thank you. New business, commercial residential vacancies.
Yep, in your packet, so over last month, earlier in the month, I completed a sheet for highlighting the vacant commercial spaces we have in downtown, and then also the unactivated second story space along River Street. And so that, both of these are living documents, just wanted to get them in front of you. And a lot of the vacant commercial, I think 8 of those properties are redevelopment projects. And so that's kind of problematic where it's not just plug and play with a business. It's, okay, we need to find somebody to redevelop this property and sink, $1.5 million into bringing it up to speed. So it'd be properties like the Music Vault or like the Derry Jones Building where you can't really go solicit a business to be in there because a business isn't going to be the one to resurrect that structure. It's going to be a real estate developer. So that's something to know. I have in my spreadsheet another line item that says like redevelopment on certain properties. And just take note that even though there's few available properties, most of those really aren't that available per se. So I just wanted to put that in front of the board and let you know that we do have that information now and happy to share or pull any type of numbers you guys have. And this binder is a property sheet binder where it has all the tax information, lot dimensions for all available parcels and unactivated space. And so we're kind of ready to rock if anybody were to approach and when we want to go out and solicit developers or businesses.
Thanks, Andrew.
Target business subcommittee.
Yep, so talking with Ben, I thought about it a little bit and then I had a conversation with Ben this month. There are certain things that I really can't, like a target business list is something that we probably shouldn't just have publicly available, especially because of people's investments and, potential investments. It can tend to run some risks with confidentiality. So I would like to have a business subcommittee where we can be really intentional about identifying businesses that we want in our downtown, and pair that with available space that we have downtown and make those matches, because I'm already going out and talking to property owners and kind of doing that, but making sure that our board is involved in that and having a proper platform where we can then report back saying, hey, these are the 4 industries that we wanted. This is the space that we're really honed in on right now that we want to fill. And then over that month, I'm able to, attack those 4 businesses that we wanted, that the subcommittee identified. Just to give that some structure and continuity, especially if, something were to happen to me, then somebody can just step right in and go, okay, we're still doing the, attracting businesses or attracting a real estate developer. And so that group should probably be renamed rather than target business list. It could also be target business and real estate developer list, where if we want that group to also really hound like the music vault and be really intentional about that. I think that it's a platform that I want to see formed. And so I know, Ben, you're interested in joining, but looking for 2 other members if anybody else wants to. It doesn't have to be 2 members, it could just be 1 other individual, but if anybody has any interest in participating in that, do you be interested in being a part of that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And so that's something that I want to meet monthly and start really getting aggressive.
You agree with it?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, like, well, shoot, we're
No,
not.
I don't need to be on the committee.
The boss said no.
So we're forming a subcommittee?
Yeah,
Correct,
yeah,
okay,
and
so
then-
that to be made up of you, Deanna,
Yeah.
and who else?
Ben.
And Ben, great, thank you. You know I'll have an opinion, so I don't need to be on the committee.
Well, I would hope you would. I hope you would.
I like the idea, but thank you. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They agree with what you said.
Outdoor seating,
So outdoor seating is coming up May 1st. Last year, we had or not last year, but I guess last spring when there was all that fluctuation within staff, there was some inconsistency with enforcement of getting payments. Not everybody paid. So this year we want to just make a point that we're gonna,
It's a one-time fee of $25 to have any type of seating essentially that is not provided by like the city. So like the benches are fine, but if you're gonna put a table and chair out,
It's a one-time
regardless,
annual.
yeah, one-time annual
Annual.
fee. But regardless if you serve food or not, if you're putting table and chair out, you need to adhere to the ordinance.
cool. So just putting that in front of the board.
yeah, and that's not been updated, it's the same.
Yeah, no, it's completely the same. So it's just a matter of, hey, we're gonna be really intentional this year about making sure that
Yeah.
there is. equitable
And
enforcement.
everyone. Anytime, I guess when I walk downtown, everyone's been permitted, I assume. Everyone's
No
filled
one
out the
can have any
permit.
seating out right now until May 1st. That's when it officially begins. And then Andrew and I will take a survey of who is putting seating out. Obviously, we'll communicate beforehand, letting them know that, hey, if you plan to, you do need to get a permit. But if for some reason something slips by and someone doesn't contact us, we'll approach.
Can it be encouraged that once you get the permit, because you actually get a physical piece of paper, that is placed in the corner of the window, it just takes the whole, did they get a permit? Do they have permission for this, blah, 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 out of the, maybe that they don't have to, we don't have to make like a law about it, but just encourage them.
Yes, we
I
do.
put ours right in the window because people are like, you guys don't have a permit for that.
But really, it's up to the DDA staff to monitor, it,
Yeah.
not
To
the
monitor and
general,
know
not the
that they-
general public.
Yeah, we will have back end like spreadsheets as to, okay,
That is
this is
true.
everybody with the permit, so we should be able to
Yeah.
quickly pull any
And we
names.
will distribute like a paper copy signed
Yeah.
to everybody so that, if they don't display it, which we will recommend they do, if someone were to go in and ask, they can say, well, here's my permit, it was signed for 2025.
I would just never imagine in this world that it would get that like picky, but it does. It does.
Well, I guess
Petty, that's the word.
I guess I just envisioned business owner just doing it, thinking it's their right.
Just,
And not doing the permit. It's not fair for someone who's gonna do the permit. That's where I come from.
yeah.
So.
Okay, thank you.
I guess I'm glad we're talking about this now. I think the issue last year where we had people do both the seating outside and the parklet and then get traffic going back and forth and whether or not they were keeping the 5 feet. So that was just hoping we can avoid that this year.
And all that's spelled out in the permit, so.
Eagle 1015 agreement.
So this is for the marketing of downtown businesses by Eagle Radio. And that is kind of coming due, and just want to put that in front of the board as to whether or not we're going to continue that service for businesses. It's $2,000. And the businesses also contribute to that campaign. And it really can't happen without that fund from the DDA as well. So, you know, there's a list of businesses that are wanting to continue it. And so I know during our budgeting session, I think we made a comment about discontinuing that service, but obviously I didn't understand that there are a group of businesses that still want to continue that and fund it. Then I think if that is the desire of the downtown businesses supporting that.
Does anybody recall what the cost to the individual businesses is for the campaign?
They get half what they contribute.
Oh,
So if you do a $500 buy, it becomes $1,000 buy.
I got you.
And I think there was two options, wasn't there? A $250 buy and a
Yeah.
$500 buy.
Yeah.
So we're taking our $2,000 and kind of spreading that. What's the board's desire on this?
I think if some businesses use it, it's great. But I don't know how many businesses actually use it, and their signal goes pretty far north. So, I mean, it's another opportunity for businesses to get the word out. Whether they use it or not, I don't know. I know we did for the Fly Fishing Film Festival and the Vogue, so.
Within his proposal, he said there were 20 participating businesses.
Last year?
Yeah.
Okay. To me, it's a small price to pay to be involved with merchants, you know, they're kind of separate, but,
With the upcoming construction and things going on downtown, I personally feel like it would be good to continue to bring the focus to downtown. This is where we can say downtown is still open if there's construction on North 31, South 31. I'm in favor of it.
did you make a motion to support this?
Do we need a motion? I'm gonna make a motion.
Nice.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we support the Eagle 101.5 agreement ongoing.
Okay, thank you both. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Back around to public comment.
Good.
Thanks for coming. Good to see you. Board members.
One more thing from me, I lost it.
We can come back to you.
Yeah, wait,
Tyler?
come back to me real quick.
Bruce? Sammy? Wow, Ben, say something.
Andrew, I appreciate the effort you're putting into the EDC piece of this puzzle. So I know you took some constructive criticism last month and you rolled with this, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Sammy for her work on the signage. I know that's an expensive endeavor, so I appreciate you taking the lead on that.
Yeah.
Having worked on this in other communities, it's valuable.
My only thing, I probably should have brought this up, but budget subcommittee, we've got just a quick phone meeting, hopefully in the next couple days. We'll schedule one more follow-up meeting and have recommendations for the board at the next meeting. So need to schedule another subcommittee meeting maybe next week. So
Let me know if you want help.
Appreciate
Scheduling that, but budget was what I was gonna bring up because obviously the city has like a draft version of ours.
Yep.
That is in the review process with council. Right now, they have all of April to kind of review the city's budget, and the DDA's budget is part of that. And so I attended last night's budget workshop. Luckily, there was no questions on the DDA standpoint. Obviously, we're $66,000 over expense, but that really is all just MEDC facade grant from 2023 and 2024. Just with how their money came in is back in 23 when we got the 75,000 first installment, but we still have to pay out 160,000. So that's kind of where that deficit comes in. If anybody asks you guys as to like, hey, why is there the 66,000 deficit you're in? It's because of how that money was parceled out from MEDC and how much we have to pay out this year. Yep.
Anybody else? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Ben,
Second.
thanks, Sammy. Great rest of your week.
Good.